we're coming to you back in the studio this morning, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. And it's getting on to be summer. It's one of as a child, it was one of my favorite times of year, and it's hard to, in light of the crushing economic conditions because of the coronavirus, and then of course the social awakening that we are having in this nation because of the death of Mr. Floyd, to not acknowledge that. So these video series are giving homage to these are significant things, and they're impacting all of our brothers and sisters and friends and neighbors. And as a veteran in the service, we only saw one color, the uniform. And I am reminded that the motto of the United States of America is out of many, one. And I am praying for solidarity and healing in our nation, as all of our friends and neighbors are as well. I'm doing a deep dive on Texas family law, and I'm talking first about the initial things that happen in many cases, not every case, but in many cases, and that's temporary restraining orders and temporary protective orders, and what the difference between those are. And the last video segment talked about how the court can involve, and often does involve, third parties to help the court gather information about what's really going on in a family, in the household, because we have learned through many years of CLE, continuing education, hearing after hearing after hearing, being a practitioner, being a trial advocate, and then these judges know, because they have lots of resources, and frankly, they're the smartest person in the room, that they've got to weigh the credibility of the two witnesses, the allegations being made against each other, and then get assistance from other experts to really dig into and find out what's going on in that household. And they'll do that in a number of ways. They can appoint attorneys to represent the best interest of the children. They can require the parents to do a custody evaluation and a mental health evaluation, and often will do that, especially in a Title IV protective order situation. And that is where, the parents have to incur and go through the time and expense to have their full psychological evaluation. And these are tests that you can't run and hide from. I mean, it's a battery of tests, and it's determined and made to be able to scrape away the exterior and find out what's really going on in that household with that parent. And both parents are subject to those conditions and requirements, and then are usually ordered at the same time, if there's allegations of family violence, to go through some sort of counseling process to not only help them deal with whatever the family violence is, if it's abuse, physical abuse, or alcohol or drug abuse, to fix themselves through a counseling process. And not only that, but also another condition that they are required to counsel together so that they can learn how to communicate in a better way and not disrupt the peace and disturb the mindset of the children. And so that way they can figure out a way to have a parenting plan going forward after the divorce, where the court cannot be the referee. And that's one of the reasons why conditions that can be imposed after a protective order hearing, they can seem and feel draconian, and it's because the court, taking everybody at their word and what all the admissible evidence eventually showed, has to make a determination to protect the best interest of the children. Court's not protecting the best interest of the parent, right? That's the attorney's job. The court's job is to protect the best interest of the children. And sometimes those conditions go both ways. Sometimes they may feel what they weigh more heavily on one parent or another, but those conditions are there to really find out, to get into so the court can get its teeth into what's really going on in that household. Anyway, please like, subscribe, and share. I hope you find these video series helpful, uplifting, positive, and informational. That's why I do them. I love doing them for you. Leave me a comment. I'll reply back to it, or make it the subject of a subsequent video series. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the studio on more on Texas family law.